Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stitching Ain't Easy. My name is Ashley. This is my husband, Mr. Ain't Easy, aka Derek. Okay, so this is the highly anticipated video that everyone's been asking about. We're both like freaking out currently. It sounded like a really good idea until we sat down to push record. It's like, oh, this is happening, and then we sat down and now kind of clammed up a bit. So yeah, that happened. A lot of bit. More like, so yeah. Okay. I don't even really know. I guess start where where we start. Okay, so last you and I spoke. He wasn't here, but he was here in spirit and he saw the video and stuff. Last we spoke, I was sending my diary. I decided that the night after I recorded the one video that I was going to send the diary that they kept sending me from the drug trial to everyone that I ever talked to, and then to the main lady's phone. Because I knew, like I said, she kept leaving me on red, and I can see that. And so, like I said, every now and then, it'd be a petty Betty, and that's all right. Especially when other people, they started it for about a year. So, at some point, it's fair. So, I started sending it. Happy to note, about 3 days after that, I stopped getting those and got a thing saying that I would no longer receive those. So, that was something. At least I don't have to look at that every night. That's nice. Like, hey, don't forget to do your diary. So, like I said, so I just kept forwarding it to them. Like, hey, you guys, don't forget to do your diary. So, you know, because they're probably all making money off of who knows what. They're probably doing their own diaries. Who knows? Who's to say? Who's to say? Allegedly. That's gotta be my one allegedly. Other than that, I need everyone to know this is my truth. And so it is what it is. So when we talk about stuff, I don't feel like there's really anything that we need to hide or be whatever about. It's just a lot is all. But it's what happened. It's the truth. And so, you know, I do crime and crochet. I have to say allegedly because I wasn't there, but we were both there at all of these things and saw all the stuff. So it is what it is. So in my last one, I mentioned all the craziness at the first site. And then I mentioned I got moved to a second site. And that, yeah. So, we...
At the first site, what all happened?
Well, all right, if you want to go into that,
I didn't know.
I mean, I talked a little bit, but not...
No.
That's what I mean, not a lot of... I talked about it, but there are things that we were talking about the other day that I had forgotten about. Because, like I said, I think I just blocked a lot of it out. But, like... Okay, like one that we talked about that I had forgotten. I got paid eventually, like for meals and like my mileage and stuff. I got paid for things like that. I knew I got paid for my mileage and hotels. Whenever we were at the first site, I asked, you know, just honestly kind of jokingly one day. I was just like, hey, is it kind of like a per diem situation? You know, like, do you guys pay for meals? Like, even though obviously I didn't eat, but people that came with me ate, and I felt like that was only fair. And, you know, they're like, no, you know, that would be nice though, wouldn't it? But then every time I was there, they would ask, you know, so where are y'all going to eat? You know, where are you going to take your husband to eat? Where are you going to take your mama to eat? You know, you're going to go somewhere real nice. And they would suggest two, usually one in particular, really nice restaurants for us to go to. Cut to the second site that I went to, once again jokingly was just like, you know, well, what about food? You know, they're like, absolutely they do that. We're like, what? And they're like, yeah, you know, absolutely they pay, you know, why wouldn't they? I was like, well, that's kind of how I felt about it. It's like, if they're paying for, you know, hotels and whatever, why wouldn't they pay, you know, for that? I mean, honestly. But yeah, so we were just kind of wondering if this whole time they're like, hey, why don't you go here? And then that's where they would go, you know, and eat on our, dime or whatever we're calling it. I don't know. We don't know if that, I guess that one can be an alleged one too.
Yeah, that's alleged.
Because I don't know that that's whatever, but I do know that, yeah, we were indeed supposed to get.
And the whole fact that they kept trying to get you to fly, and I don't know, it's just.
Yeah.
Like, and stay at certain motels, and.
Yeah.
Like they were, I don't know, it was.
Yeah, it was like.
Just almost pressured to eat, stay, and wherever they wanted. And.
Yeah. And at both places. Odd. At both places, it was like that. Well, we have this one hotel that.
Yeah.
Everyone, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we don't know if they got something for that. I don't know. But it was at both places, like a certain specific place that they wanted us to stay. And then, yeah, like that. It's like, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. I'm this sick and they're like wanting me to fly. Like, I can't believe that you would rather, then at one point, the one nurse lady down there was like, I can't believe that you think it's safer for you to get in a car and come down here and stay in a hotel as opposed to fly down here. And I was just like, no, how much sense does that make? Like, myself and maybe 3 other people that like live in my household or my mom. And that's all. That's the only people that went. And us just going and being very careful whenever, we would stop to get gas and go to the restroom, go to the hotel. Very, very careful the whole entire time. Sprayed everything down in the hotel.
Never once got COVID.
Or get on a plane, a bus in the sky with everyone and wish for the best. I mean, how does that make any sense? So it's just little things like that that were like, why would I do that though? It doesn't make any sense. So it was all, like I said, in the last, which I will link that one below just in case anyone's out of the whatever on that. You guys want to watch that one first, I suppose. But yeah, just from the get-go, we were lied to. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's all a big fugazi. Very much so. Yeah. So, what had happened was, we, like I mentioned, are pretty daggum desperate. We were discussing things because we've been talking about a lot of different stuff lately, like what could help, what could be going on, stuff like that. And we think we've came to a few pretty good conclusions of some ideas, but I made an appointment with my doctor to talk to him. But anyway, so in that, we were looking at the thing that the
other medicines.
Yeah, the thing that the drug had in it. Yeah. It's like an anti something. Yes. I'm trying not to say too much because I'm trying to still keep my side of the story, but keep names out of things just because. But yeah, we were trying like the anti whatever it is, the thing that's in the medication. It was like, well, what if we could just purchase that? Because through my searches, like I said, how I figured out that they went from 180 patients to 71 patients in less than a year, kind of just like that. I figured out what the name of the drug is and what it is that the
active ingredient.
Yeah. So we were trying to find that. Couldn't. I don't know why. Okay, so we looked at on your phone, on your Google search, you have all, and then we went to shopping looking for things and absolutely nothing even close. And I don't know why. I have no idea why, because we're looking for something to purchase. I hit news at the top. The very, very, very first thing that came up was an article with one heck of a title, but basically, there's a reason that I wasn't being contacted back and that they were basically ignoring me and that they were basically, that they kicked us out and that all of those things. We'll say last year, they were a company worth $4.4 billion and very, up there, everyone thought, wonderful things about this just amazing drug that they had. I mentioned at one point, and I've mentioned a few times on these, that it was a miracle cure. They kept telling us all that, it's a miracle cure. 15 minutes, you'll be so much better, and it's great, it's wonderful, and blah, 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 blah. Well, in the article, it mentions that, one of the very first things is if this drug works like they're saying it does in all of their test studies, then why isn't it working? Basically. It was dropping eosinophils. People were still having symptoms. I mean, like that. Like, I was, telling you guys I was getting better, which I feel like I was to an extent. At the same time, I was still throwing up. Still couldn't eat things. Still couldn't whatever. But I mean, I had an appetite and still wanted to. But if I ate certain, it wasn't like the miracle cure. Like we all heard that it was supposed to be. I mean, I was supposed to like have no issues,
Instantly.
be gravy train, biscuit wheels. Yeah.
Instantly.
15 minutes. And whenever I got the infusion, it was supposed to be like, oh my goodness, where's the pizza? Like that kind of a thing is how they explained it. Like just like that, you'll be so much better. And so, yeah, basically in the article, it just talks a lot about false, I don't even know how to say that.
Results.
Yeah, like they were putting in bunch of hooey, basically, that nothing matched up with what matched up whenever they looked into things, I guess. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to
it's hard
say it without saying it.
Absolutely, it's very difficult to say without saying it. But yeah, basically that's what it is. They shut down the deal is pretty much what happened. They're now, instead of it being this, because
4.4 billion.
Well, yeah, well, that they went to
fraction,
like nothing. Like, okay, I was telling, like
a small fraction of that.
Yeah, it's pennies on the dollar type situation. I was talking to him and my mom about like Elizabeth Holmes, if you guys know like the Theranos things, or there's even a deal on Hulu, but I knew about her before that. But it's kind of a little bit like that. Like she's like, toting this like miracle cure and this miracle wonderful thing and has all these people and there's billions of dollars behind her, but she doesn't have anything to show for it. It's kind of a lot like that. Like it was just a bunch of talk, basically. So yeah, but I forgot what I was gonna say.
It was basically another drug they could stick on the market and make millions of dollars off of that did nothing.
Yeah, and basically, we talked about
just
that.
Wouldn't kill you.
Maybe like, certain results weren't what they thought, and so whatever, maybe it whatever, and then people looked into it and it wasn't at all what they said it was. And so now, like I mentioned, I would go and get an infusion, an IV infusion. I'd sit there for 5 hours. Now, instead of it being that sort of thing, it's going to be a topical cream for eczema. So that's where it's at now. One of the, I'm going to say this part because I'm trying to keep it vague, but one of the the last line in the article was, "Oh, how the mighty have fallen," and I got goosebumps. I mean, it was good. So there's a reason that they haven't been saying anything. There's a reason that they, all that, I'm sure, to cover their booties. It's insane. Like I said, that's just like an onion type thing. There are a lot more layers, but I don't want to say a whole lot. But
there was a lot more wrong than. A lot of wrong.
Yeah. But like I said in the last video, if like myself just continuously emailing and then putting up these videos is what I have to do in order to, honestly kind of make myself feel better. It's a smidge therapeutic, and it was for sure therapeutic just to return to sender and send all their email. Well, yeah, to read the article, but just to like send all their emails back to them. Just like, oh no, thank you. Here you go. You have this. Here, you throw this away, kind of a thing. So yeah, that was very therapeutic. And like I said, having these was very therapeutic. Yeah, so went from, like I said, being $4 billion miracle drug to hydrocortisone cream pretty much overnight. And it was a really good, it's funny because we just now, Well, I probably can't say that either. I was going to say when the article came out. I can't say that either.
Why?
I don't know. Okay, well, we just now... You're right, it is. We just now found the article. But it was a really good early Christmas present, and we didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I'll say that. The whole time I was worried about, they're, Christmas sucks here, basically, because nothing fun's happening. I couldn't do anything and all that, and I was just like, man, they're just enjoying life right now at Christmas, and turns out they probably weren't.
Well, they probably were.
They probably didn't care at all. But stuff had hit the fan 3 days before Christmas, and that just made me so much. That was a good late birthday, early Christmas present right there. That was a good one. Just like, okay. So yeah. So that's pretty cool. And also in the same article, it discussed another drug that is officially FDA approved. So we're also going to talk to my doctor about that, but it's FDA approved. It's a once a month injection, so it's sort of the same kind of thing that I would have done before, I suppose. But I can do it here at the house. I don't have to go to a center and do it, so that's cool. I'll take me in the car for 28 hours in 2 days, 2 days sometimes, so that's fun. But yeah, so it'll be like a once a month injection, and so it supposedly helps with eosinophils and symptoms. It supposedly does both things, and like I said, obviously it's FDA approved, and it's not a topical cream, so I feel like that's a pretty good deal. So that's a pretty good indicator that maybe it's okay.
Well,
yeah, I mean, who's to say, but maybe. But yeah, so that's kind of the basic gist. I know it's not real whatever, but it's just that kind of vindication almost, just like to make me not feel nuts, because they sure did try real hard to make me feel nuts a whole lot. They tried real hard to be like, well, like I said, nobody gets headaches and light sensitivity.
Yeah.
That's silly. Turns out 80% of people got light sensitivity and headaches, and oh no, that's silly that you're still not getting better, and that it's 15 minutes, you should be fine, and you should be blah blah blah, and this is it's a miracle drug, and this is wonderful, and hype it up, and according to your diary, blah blah blah, and then it turns out, sure enough,
it don't work.
We were right, and we were lied to from the get-go, and it's all just a bunch of hooey. And so yeah, there's that. But yeah, they're not sending me my diary anymore, just like I said, so
no more daily reminders of how awful it was.
Getting slapped in the face every day at 8 p.m. again. Like, hey, you remember us? So, yeah, pretty much. Like I said, so yeah, I just started doing that just because I reached out to him several times. Like, hey, it'd be real great if you'd quit sending me these. Thanks. And just kept getting them. And it was like, no, really, stop sending me these. And then the next night, there'd be another one. And so it was like, okay, fine. And so, like I said, it took just a couple of days of sending them to everyone. And that was that. So see, it's okay to speak your mind. It's okay to put stuff out there and return to sender emails. I don't think you meant to send this to me. Here you go. So yeah.
Just the whole way they basically kicked you out was all a bit strange in itself. Just to walk in there, we're not treating you anymore.
For no reason.
Yeah, for no reason at all.
Yeah.
2 questions.
Yeah, if your diet
over
changed.
2. Yeah.
Sure.
Are you choking on food?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they didn't know that we had got results of your scopes and knew you had a twisted esophagus, so obviously food's going to get stuck. And then to use that, because they didn't know we knew that, but to kick you out.
Yeah, but we mentioned that at one point. It was just like, oh well,
yeah,
like I wasn't supposed to get the results of my scope, and just per usual, they handed them to me. That's the one thing that I got. That was it. And at this point, I'm not going to get my medical records.
That's because I asked for it because
he knew better. They weren't going to send it, but I'm not going to get my medical stuff for the whole time. I'm just not, which really stinks, but at least we had that. And yeah, we got to be like, well, it says on the scope though that blah, blah, blah. And her face was just like, well, so yeah. And that wasn't the only scope we got with that information. So that was kind of a given, but either way, just, yeah. Anywho, so that's pretty much it. Just, yeah, well, how the mighty have fallen, I guess. I don't really know how else to say it. I mean,
couldn't said it better.
Nailed it.
Article was
put us through absolute hell for a real long time, and obviously we weren't the only ones, and that kind of hurts even more, to be quite honest. That
that's kind of
there
weird.
There were other people.
Yeah.
No, go ahead and say it. Please say it.
Oh yeah, it was just kind of weird that we were the only ones that had to travel to get this. Everybody else lived in that town.
And the one I say is a ways, in retrospect, it's not for me to be the one that drove the furthest, and there only be 2 handfuls of test sites.
Yep.
A little suspicious. Wonder why. So it all, like I said, it all comes out in the wash. It all makes sense. That's my favorite part. I knew better than to like, I wanted nothing more than to get a lawyer just to tell my story, if nothing else. But getting on here and venting in these videos was kind of like that, just like blah. Getting it out kind of made me feel a little bit better. It was like I wanted so badly to go to a lawyer, wanted so badly to call, said the Channel 2 works for you thing, someone, and it was like, no.
It'll happen.
No, because, yeah, and turns out it was already happening, and there was a reason that whenever I went in there, they're like, well, we're not going to do it, and just like would completely ignore me and acted like 2-year-olds, is because they couldn't do it, because they didn't have, they couldn't. So, which makes me once again feel even better than it being like, we're not doing it because of you. We're not doing it because we screwed up.
Yep.
For like the 9,000th time in 4 weeks. So, allegedly. How's that? Yep. So, there we go. But yeah, so that's where we are. So I have an appointment with my primary care in a couple weeks. And we're going to talk to him about all the drama and the new possibilities, I guess, and just see what he has to say and pray big that
we figure something out.
Yeah, and that the injection, he's pretty cool about stuff like that. I mentioned that before. Like if you kind of come in and talk to him, he'll have an actual conversation with you and talk to you about it, and then look up his part.
To play God.
Yeah, exactly. He'll look up his part and then talk to you like you're an actual person instead of exactly being like, well, I know because I read this book. And you're just like, yeah, well, that hadn't worked out real great for anyone else so far. So, yeah. I'm kind of my own person. I'm completely different than all the rest. So, it's kind of like public school. Like, not everyone fits in this little bitty tiny square, and then it's not how it works. There's like this whole broad spectrum, and other people have other things, and I'm one of those people. So I don't fit in their little medical journal, and so therefore it is what it is. Yeah. But so we're gonna talk to him and hopefully get the whatever figured out.
Oh, your arm isn't half severed off? Oh, you're just got hysteria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard it was psychosomatic a few times.
Yeah.
A few times. And see, that's one that makes me feel that's, like I said, vindication, because I was told by the people in this thing, even. And that's what really sucks, is because I mentioned how high our hopes were the very, very first time we went to the very, very first spot, because the lady even said that. I'm sure you've been told it's psychosomatic. Yep. That's gotta hurt. And then 3 months in, she was like, that doesn't happen. That's not a real thing. That's all in your head. And I was just like, oh, it's beautiful here. I love it. Yeah. Love it here. This is fun. So yeah. There's so much more, but we shall push it down because we've shared what we feel like we can. I'll go that route. at this point, though, I mean, it's kind of like,
Following
what
the
are they
Lord's
going to do?
hand.
Fall apart? So, but yeah, I mean, really, what are they going to do? Get shut down? So, anyway, but yeah, so it's kind of just because. So, like I said, prayers answered that, no, we're not, whatever. No, we weren't just making it up. Yes, sure enough, they were fibbing, and it's all just once again, a big fugazi. And now it's hydrocortisone cream. From being a miracle drug to hydrocortisone cream almost overnight. So, honestly, prayers are answered for that. Prayers answered that they didn't treat me again. Once they knew that, to be quite honest, I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
All this time I've been trying so hard to get back in there. Like, what is the deal? You'll have to help me. What is happening? Because, I mean, we're desperate. Real talk. It's...
You're in a wheelchair now.
So, it's pretty bleak. And so, that was... I mean, I've said that 1,000 times on here. That was we felt like our Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it was like, please, like, you're our only hope. Please just let us back in. And they were just like, ignore, left on red, ignore. And then to find out why we were ignored and why, I mean, I'm thankful that they didn't treat me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And especially after all that, because who knows?
Yeah, who knows what it would have done.
Because I opened my mouth and who knows what would have happened, you know?
Yeah.
And then like that, after, I've mentioned that on here before, so why not? I'll just say it again. But after they kicked me out, we weren't gone an hour. And it was like, well, if you want to come back and have your scope, you can come back and do your scope. And it was like, why in the hell would I do that? I mean, honestly, like, why? Y'all just kicked me out, ignored me. I'm sitting there like crying and bawling and like having a panic attack in the middle of your office telling you, no, I didn't lose 10 pounds. No, I'm not. You know, what is happening? You kick me out, tell me you're done. Not even an hour later. You want to come back and we'll knock you unconscious and perform surgery on you? That's a big no. That's a big fat no. I don't believe I will.
Oh, what? Now you want to do your job?
Exactly. That's pretty much what happened. It was like once, whatever. It was like, oh, well, but we can make more money off of you. Where are you going? It was like,
no, we can cover our ass.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Like, oh, we forgot to do that before you left. We were supposed to do that. And we just kicked you out instead. It's like, oh, no, it's cool. No worries. No worries. So, yeah, it all worked out. You know, there's a few times it was just like, what has happened? Why, you know, was I put in
all
this?
All those records you got shredded.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, because I opened my mouth. I was the one that, you know, never do that, apparently. Never speak your mind. Just kidding. Always speak your mind. Always. If you feel like something's wrong, probably is. And like I said, every time I went in, it was like, record this, and I never did. And I wish I had those two just for validation, just to hear it. I mean, just to know, you know, like all the stuff that they said was completely wrong. And just for that, just to be like, okay, like that. You know, I'm sure you've been told it's psychosomatic. Oh, well, guess what? That's all in your head. Like, that's so messed up. So, yeah. So that's where we are. The stuff done hit the fan. Topical cream. Prayers were answered. That's all Tostitoed, which is awesome. And there's another drug.
There'll be more.
That, well, see, there's another drug that hopefully will help the...
That is approved. That is...
For my disease even.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
Nobody mysteriously knew about.
Right?
Or could tell us about.
Not fun? That's fun.
So, anyway, we'll get
to
that later.
Yeah, well, anyway. So, that's what our news is. That's, like I said, our big prayers answered that I know why, which is nice. Just to know why I was, like I said, basically kicked out and ignored and whatever. I know why, and that's an amazing thing. And then to have possibility of another thing that will work that I can do here at the house. So I don't even have to go all over the countryside. Drag everyone away from their lives for 4 days. That'll be good. So, all right. So this is our big tale. I know it's still pretty vague. You know, like I said, we can't mention names or anything like that without it being a whole deal. So this is cool as we can make it, I guess. So, all right. So thank you guys for listening to our, I don't know, health update. I don't know, whatever it is.
Or venting.
Our venting, yes. Thanks for listening. Thanks for letting us vent. Yeah, very much, exactly. Thanks, guys. All right. So, all right. We hope you all have a wonderfully blessed day. Thank you guys so very much for all the prayers because they worked. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. So, all right. Talk to you guys soon.
Mm-hmm.